Well,
Good evening, sir.
sir, good evening, sir.
Welcome. Today, Nishi ji will be teaching you. I hope there is no difficulty with the topic.
Yeah, the topic was easy. So, can you please tell me who will teach us today?
Miss Nishi.
Oh, okay.
Sir, the topic was just explaining your word better to understand.
Your voice is muffled. What did you say?
Sir, I am saying although the topic was understood, but could you please tell in your way so that it would be better to understand for me?
It is asking you to evaluate the impact of print media. That means newspapers, books, journals,
Okay.
magazines, etc. And you can compare it with electronic media, that is television, and digital media, that means Facebook, internet, etc.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you said that today you will ask us that words that you have tell us yesterday.
Yes, we'll do it in the end, or maybe some other day. But today I wanted to first tell you something important that was inadvertently. You understand? Inadvertently?
Right now.
No. What is the meaning of inadvertently? Inadvertently means without any intention, subconsciously, unintendedly. So inadvertently, I had left out one important point when I was explaining the weaknesses of democracy. And that point is the elections are I should say, set in motion lots of negative forces also. Democracy depends upon elections, and elections are very important, no doubt. They are lesser evil, but elections also set in motion some negative tendencies. Can you name some negative impacts of elections?
May I tell?
Yes, Kushi. Welcome, Nishiji. I was just reviewing last day's one point, then you will take over. Yes, Kushi.
Yes, sir. Sir, in elections days, the leader used to more focus and give more advantage to the people who have voted them in the nearby when the election are coming near. Otherwise, most of the people don't even think that they are such a people. They only used to take over the money or so.
Yes, very good. So not only money power, but muscle power. Then
The current elections also in
influence of propaganda. And one more very important thing, competitive populism. Competitive populism, can anyone explain what is competitive populism?
So they used to focus more on their opposition and see that what is opposition doing and they do the same thing.
No. Populism means going for policies which will be popular at the moment but will harm the country in the long run. For example, distributing freebies. This is populism. Cheap popularity. Going for cheap popularity by political parties. This is called populism. So this is also a very negative aspect of electoral politics. But despite these negatives, elections and democracy are a lesser evil. Of course, to check the impact of negative features, we must be very alert. Okay, now I hand over to Nishiji. Nishiji, please take over. It's a very important and nice topic. And please, students, you should give her a clap. She has joined after a long travel, I think. And I hope you had a very nice time while traveling. We are really pleased to have you back. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Ma'am, you are on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
But now the video is not coming.
Ma'am, there is an icon. If you are using a
This is because of the network issue.
that,
Maybe your video is not responding because of the network issue.
So what do I do now?
no, ma'am. If you are using a mobile, so there is an icon, start video. You have to click on that. It's near the mute icon. So you have to just click on that. Your video will be on.
No, but that's what I'm saying, that it is not showing.
You are muted now. Earlier we could hear you, but now we can't get your voice.
Is it clear now?
Yes, yes.
Am I
Now we can
audible?
see you and hear you. Yes.
Okay. So a very warm good evening to all of you.
Same to you. Thank you.
Just a second.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, a very warm good evening to all of you. I hope everybody is fine.
Yes, we
I
are
hope-
missing you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So the topic for today is, I hope everybody knows the topic for today, print media and its importance in every era. Every era had some way of showing their responses, giving the informations, right? So today we'll be discussing on to that. So who is the first one who will be speaking? Who's the
May
first
I
one?
proceed? May
Yeah,
I
yeah,
proceed?
yeah. Could you please go on? Yeah.
As era is most important thing in our human history, because it used to show our past and what we are gonna come in the future. As in 21st century, the most important century in human history, at least that the number of thinkers says, as the argument of pretty simple, as the people have many huge technologies and they have decided many things for future also. And today I want to say about the print media importance. As the print media used to show our daily routine, or so they used to show our information about the surrounding, like news is newspaper, media, radio. Also they used to show our surrounding, that what is going on in our surrounding, what are new news that are coming in our area, in our India, our world. These all are shown by a social print media. And print media are also used for entertainment and advertisement, information, and many more things, like showing technology and changing that are happening day by day in our world and our country. And also it's help us to for the telling the trends that are going on in our right now in our all over the world. And importance of everlast life, as the gods in our life produce peace and purpose and power, and these help us to maintain, show our ability to proper relate to the god. other person, ourselves, of the our world purpose, provide understanding of the God deserve for our life. The God has given us a life that we can just live endless life after death, such like this. Its meaning is this, like if and in the 21st century the people have made many more things for our future and brightness, brightness future, like if the petrol and CNG and are they are finishing from our world, but the people has made electrical and moon charged car that may help our future to more bright. So I want to say this. Thank you.
Khushi, I think you have not understood the question properly. So what you gave as an answer was not too clearly related to the question.
Oh, so mom, can you please tell me the topic again?
Okay, that means you did not know the topic also.
I
Khushi,
know the topic. I know the topic, but I guess I didn't understood that.
Yes, you really did not understand the topic. The topic was that importance of print media in every era. In every era means that irrespective of centuries ago, media, like the way of mode of communication, mode of expression has always been there. Like, for example, if I give you during Ashoka's time, the Buddhist teachings and everything was written on the pillars. They were encarved
Yes.
on the pillars.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is what the question is, that over a period of time, the methods of print media has changed, but it was always there because it was the only means to communicate the effectiveness of that particular time. This is what the question is.
So may I start again?
Okay, go on.
Namaskar, everyone. My name is Khushi, and today I will speak on this topic. As we all,
Just a second. Could you be seen because your video is switched off,
ma'am,
I
if I
guess.
open my video, then my voice will come lower, so low. So
Okay.
because my
Yeah.
camera will be far away from my mouth. So yeah. So namaskar everyone. My name is Khushi, and today I will speak on this topic. As we all know, communication in human life are attached with each other. If there is nothing like communicate, there's no life without communication. In Stone Age, also people used to communicate by signs, as they used to make drawings or so. But in the period of time, communication style changes, and like in 860 in 19th century, people used there people used to move from one place to other place to telling the news to each other. And in the period of king also, the people used to communicate by this style only. They used to just write it on a paper and piece, and they used to distribute that like a newspaper in every house for the important for important thing like that are happening or that will happen in future in their cities or their places. They used to communicate like this. But now the WhatsApp, Facebook, they are Insta, so many apps are there, so people are use these things for communicating. But in before these, the people used to communicate about gossip each other about the surroundings. They used to gossip and tell that what happened in the surroundings or so. They used to just take such a local thing, and they used to think say about that their option. Then our radio came, and the people use radio for the communication, how like, and then a phone and telephone, and so start telling the news and many things and news news. The TV came and start telling the news by action, and so people use to come the what about their happening in their surroundings. So in I guess the communication in every era changes. Like from the starting, the people used to talk. Show the sign to each other to communicate, then the people start moving one place to another place to tell how communication, then the latter one start, and after all news, radio, newspaper, and now phones are there for the communication. Thank you.
Kushi, it is not pupil, it is people. The word,
Oh
the
yeah.
pronunciation of the word is people, like what people
Okay,
have
ma'am.
been doing over different times. Okay.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
I
Okay,
would
ma'am.
suggest you that for this topic, just go on Google and slightly like gain much more strong points, because what you're speaking today is you're repeating the same point again and again. Okay. So I would tell you that you go on the Google, and because
Okay,
like
okay.
this topic is very it is very fruitful topic, because like we do come to know that how over a period after, since time immemorial, that means you can't even think from how long era ages, the means of communication has been there in some form or the other. Okay. So not even humans, but
Nishi,
even the
may
animals.
uh, I was just wondering,
Okay,
maybe
ma'am.
these students are distinguishing between carvings and print. So you very rightly said that carvings have been there right from the Stone Age, in fact, earlier on bark, on
That's what
trees.
I'm saying, that print media is an evolution. It has
Yes,
changed its way
yeah, yeah.
with
But these
technology
students
coming
are
in.
perhaps equating print with the movable type with which we started getting newspapers, etc. So we can tell them that carvings which preceded print were also a mode of communication. So please mention that also.
Yeah, it was. Of course, that is what the question was. No, that print media, print could be in any form. It has been prevailing since time immemorial. Okay, who's the next one now? Who's the next one?
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah, lovely. Go on.
Yes, ma'am, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good evening, everybody. Today I will speak on the topic print media and its evaluation important in every era.
Your voice is lovely.
Print
Your voice
media,
is not clear. It is not
ma'am,
clear.
now am I audible?
Yeah. Okay, go on. I'll tell you, because previously it was not audible clearly.
Okay. Print media is a mean of mass communication in the form of printed publications such as newspapers and magazines. Print media is one of the oldest and basic forms of the mass communication. Print media is a way to publish any news in printing form. Nowadays, print media is a virtual for all daily. A weekly and monthly newspaper is considered as print media. This also represents the primary of publication which offers the news at reasonable price. Print media has also helped students in the COVID period by e-books, e-newspapers, and many competitions, advertisement, etc. Print media plays an important role in today's time. Print media is the thing which makes print media most important is its like it's creators ability, and print media is one of the basic forms of mass communications from the oldest time. We From the oldest time print media has always been there, and if we talk about the media. So print media is one of the better option, and as I said, the print media is something which always helps students, and nowadays also print media is a very helpful hand for students. As in today's time, everything is there on the tab, mobile. newspapers. So e-books, e-newspapers has always helped are always helping the students. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Next, who's the next one now? Who's the next one?
Ma'am, can I speak? Ma'am, may I speak?
Yeah. Yeah. Weber.
Yeah. Ma'am, am I visible?
Yeah, you're visible.
About today's topic, firstly, I would say namaskar to ma'am and sir and my dear friends. About today's topic, print media importance every ever. About that print media.
Just Weber, hold. The question is importance of print media in every era. The word is era. जैसे हर युग होता है, आपने युग पढ़े हैं, हिंदी में युग बोलते हैं, तो हर युग में जो है वो प्रिंट मीडिया का जो है वो प्रिंटिंग किसी भी तरह से हो सकती है. जरूरी नहीं है कि आपका चले वो ये वाला जो है वो न्यूज़पेपर्स या यही हो. जिस एरा में जो भी प्रिंटिंग का तरीका था, जो भी कम्युनिकेशन का तरीका था, उसकी अपनी इम्पोर्टेंस थी. क्वेश्चन ये है. ठीक है, चलिए. ओके.
Print media is useful because if we study in school, so in our books also they print, and if they will not print, so we have to write, and we don't know even that we that what we have to write. So print media can be useful for this also, and if we work for a case, so we need a print on paper of a 4 sheet or a case file. We have to print out or photocopy, scan that we have to give to judge. That also we can use print media, and print media is useful that because if it will be not print media, our life will not work because there will be no books and newspapers, no economical books, and there is so much use of print media because in when I was going to my house yesterday, my father was printing a copy of my copy of a court case, and I see that the printer's ink is very black. We have to refill, and print media is useful to us very much, and its importance is high because if we will not it will not there. So the media will not work. That we use phones in that also they give screen, so they print something on the screen, and if we have to take print out, so we have a machine of printer so that we can take out print out because of that print out print media is very important. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. Who's the next one? Who's the next one now?
Ma'am, can I start, Bhavya? Can I start?
Bhavya.
So, can I start?
Yes, Bhavya, start.
Namaskar, ma'am and my dear friends. I am Bhavya to speak on this topic. Before starting the topic, first I want to explain what is print media. Print media is one of the oldest and the basic forms of mass communication. It includes newspaper, weekly magazines, monthlies, and forms of printed journals. A basic understanding of print media is it's the essential study of a mass communication. And then I want to say that what is the importance of print media. Print media is a way for publishing any news in a printing form. Nowadays the print media is vital for all. Daily, a weekly and monthly newspaper is considered as a print media. They also represent the primary form of publications which offers news at reasonable price. There are there are advantages of this is that from news if there will be newspaper and magazines, we can get knowledge from that, but their disadvantage is that for making that newspapers and the other things and the other stuff we cut more than 1,000 trees. So that's my advantages and disadvantage I have found, and this is all. Thank you.
Okay, good. Who's the next one? Good enough. Who's the next one?
Thank you, ma'am.
Who's the next one now? Do we have any other participant left?
All have spoken now. We had only 4 students today.
Okay. So, like,
Rita
I would
can
like
add
to
something and then
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, please go on. Yeah.
Rita, would you like to say something? Rita, can you hear us? Nishiji, you can go ahead with your comment.
Okay. Like, before I end up, you can say if you want to say something. Then I'll give the conclusion of what I really wanted and what the question was all about.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to share some information about the history of printing. That would be interesting for students to know. See, as Nishiji mentioned, if we take a broad meaning of printing and including carvings in it, then it goes back to Stone Age when humans first started communicating in a permanent form beyond speech. Words are immediately lost. Okay. So to give some permanence to communication, some kind of printing was needed, and this was done first in the form of carvings. First carvings were made on trees or on stones, etc.
Pillars,
Yes.
rocks.
Pillars came later on when
Rocks were there. Rocks.
So but between that, the first civilizations started using blocks made of stone and also metal, or later on wood, which was much cheaper and easier. But coming to the narrower definition of printing, which involves creation of documents, this was done first of all in China, and they first used silk and cloth, and the first book was produced in the 7th century under Tang dynasty in China. That book is lost to us, but the oldest surviving book is called Diamond Sutra from China, and it is as old. It was created in 868 because it has date mentioned on it. Okay, this is the oldest book that we have in the world, and this was printed with the help of blocks made of wood, printing on silk. Okay, but China also created the first printing press. This was in 13th or 14th century. Europe was behind that. Unfortunately, India did not use, and you must be aware that India had the tradition of Shruti. A lot of our sacred texts, huge texts like Vedas, Mahabharata, etc., they were only remembered through repetitive recitation. They were written down only in the Gupta period. And the first writing, although writing was known and it was done on inscriptions, etc., but naturally on pillars and on stone, whole books, big books like Vedas could not be written. So they were first written on barks and on cloth during the Gupta period. That is 4th century AD. Before this, of course, engravings, they are called. Engravings or carvings had come on inscriptions, as Nishiji is saying, and on stone, etc. So interestingly, Akbar was shown the printing press by the Portuguese, but he did not understand the importance of printing press. Even great Akbar could not understand the importance. Although he wanted to spread his religion called Deen-e-Ilahi, he could have used the printing press, but he could not gather. He himself was, as you must be aware, illiterate. Now, the real revolution in printing came through the printing press invented by a German priest called Gutenberg in the 15th century. I think it was 1453. First printing press. This is
1450.
Okay. Thank you.
1450.
And that this was in the middle of the Renaissance. And Renaissance and Reformation, these were big movements in Europe, which got a big fillip. Fillip, you understand? Not this name of tube light, but F-I-L-L-I-P. Fillip means boost. It got a big fillip from the invention of cheap printing through the mechanical printing, movable printing press. Okay? And the next advance in printing was the invention of lithography, in which once a text on a page was created on wax or some such material, then numerous copies could be made of it. This was called lithography. Okay, this happened in late 18th century, 1790s, and it gave a big boost to French Revolution, etc., because newspapers became cheap now. Later, of course, printing has changed, and now it has been. I slightly disagree with Nishiji that in every era, printing is being supreme or most important. Today, social media has taken over printing, and before social media, electronic media, that is television, had taken over.
Just a second. I would like to clear over here.
Yeah.
Printing, like what you said, that you disagree. Basically, I think the interpretation of the question has not been done properly. The question was importance of printing. In every era, printing had its own ways in different era, and it served to the masses as it is serving today. But the form of expression, the form of writing, and the form of communicating was different. But we can never get away from the fact that yes, it prevailed through and through immemorial times. Like, for example, if you go back to Mahabharata, Ved Vyas is saying and Ganeshji was writing. If you go to Mahabharata, how was...
Nishiji, I think you are defining printing in a very broad sense as written communication. Exactly. Written communication includes writing on paper, but narrower definition of printing will not include that. Writing by hand is not same as printing in the narrower definition. Similarly, television is not included in printing. Social
That's what
media
I'm
is not
saying.
included.
My question was that spreading of information. So only media is not, printing is not the only way of spreading information.
Yes, exactly.
So all through the immemorial times, it was always prevailing in some form or the other. The question was related to that itself. Maybe it was
That's what
not
I'm saying. You are
understood.
interpreting printing word in a very broad sense. We understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is what the
But there
thing
is a
is.
narrower definition of printing also, which looks at printing as something which is imprinted on a surface with the help of a block or a printing press or carving on stone, etc. In that definition,
Yeah,
social media or handwritten, this thing will not be called printing. But yes, in your broader definition, we understand you can call it printing.
yes, because the mode of communication over the time immemorial has always been there, and that is how people got to know the different versions of different ideas. That is what
Yes,
the
yes.
question was.
Communication is, of course, timeless. It has always been there ever since.
Maybe the question was not well understood, or maybe it was not well presented. I don't know what
No,
went
it
wrong.
is now clear. You are using printing in a very broad sense of
Yeah.
communication.
Yes, because it is through the communication of print. Maybe printing word does not suit over here. I don't know how it went wrong, but it was always through this media
Now
itself.
we
And
understand. Yeah, it is clear now. It is very clear. So now you can make your comment, Nishiji.
yeah, because it is through this mode of information, this mode of spreading of information itself, that you create a credibility that what you are saying is, because if it is in the if it is printed in whatever form, be it carving, be it written, be it like in earlier times they used to use those sticks also to write the things with colored pencils and all, they used to write, but it always, they were a treasure. You could always go back to them and clarify as to what is written over there. And today also in media, if you have anything to clear out, you can always go back and refer to it. And that is where print media has always had its own importance. So we cannot get away from the fact that print media was never important. Okay, so in some form or the other, whichever form existed at that particular time, like in the initial times, it was written on the leaves also. Printing was done on the leaves also, and it was passed to from one to another so that people could get the information. It was a way of getting ideas from one another. So this is like media has always had its own importance. You cannot get away from the fact you form opinions from there, you get public opinions from there, you get ideas from there, you're able to circulate everything. So media has always been, because basically it is what do you say, it is an independent field where you can spread out what you really feel about any of the topic that is presently wanting its attention to be
But
on.
Nishiji, do you think there are some negative aspects of printing communication also?
100%, everything can never be all positive,
Yes. So what
because
are? Yes, Nishiji, you were saying something about the negative facets of printing.
She is not connected with his audio right now. Now she is.
The meeting had ended because maybe the time was over, so the meeting got ended.
We have joined again. Yes.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, Nishiji, you are audible.
Yeah, so yes. Anybody has any question to ask about the topic today?
No, I was wondering if you have some negative aspects also of printing to highlight.
Yes, of course. Yes, the most important negative aspect is just because it has a right to speak. Everybody uses the right to speech in a different manner. It is not always justified, it is not always true, and it is not always proper also. Like people go down to any level to speak. So that has always been there, and it is still prevailing, and we are viewing so many things during the political meetings as well. So media has its own negative side as well. If it educates you on one side, it gives you the adverse side of it as well.
What about others? Khushi, Lovely, do you have some negative aspects to highlight about
Sir,
printing?
sir, can you please repeat?
Do you think printing communication has some negative aspects also?
Um, yes, sir. Printing has, if there is something as positive side, so it has negative side also. We are getting everything printed, the books, the newspapers, so it reduces our writing work, which reduces our which is not good for our vocabulary. And writing is a very good habit, with this and printing reduces this thing. So I think this is the negative impact.
So may I tell?
See,
So may I tell?
Yes, Kushi.
Mom, as newspaper and magazines and the books are written from a harmful chemical. They are written from some people in some villages. The people don't use butter paper or foil paper for wrapping the food. They only use the newspaper and magazine for the wrapping the food, and it may harmful for them who use, because the ink used to print when it's got hot. When as I also experiment that if you took a plastic sheet and a newspaper, and then we used to put such hot water or press, then the ink will print on the plastic sheet, so it may harmful for the them that are eating it. It may cause such a diseases or cancer also.
Okay, good information. Yes.
and the
Anybody
biggest
else?
limitation is that printing cannot convey sound, and it can convey pictures, but it cannot convey movie. That is its limitation, which the electronic medium can convey.
And the newspaper, sometimes people in newspaper used to write such a thing like bada chada ke something in newspaper, that's
Exaggerate. The word is exaggerate. The word is
exaggerate.
Yes,
exaggerate. Yes, they
Yeah.
exaggerate.
The
and
news, and they used to sometimes they used to tell uh, that news that are secret, that must keep secret from the public. They used to just tell this to the public also, so the mission that our government doing, so it may come with such a
yes,
problems.
and also the uh, uh, printing cannot be easily conveyed, transmitted electronically. Audio visual can be conveyed more easily, and that is why we can. Another limitation is that we have to sit down to read, whereas we can have a walk, we can do a small activity while listening. So listening has an advantage over printing, that printing forces us to sit down and use our eyesight. It cannot be easily uh, used by the visually impaired people. On
So
that,
it stops you from multitasking. And when it is stopping you from
yeah,
multitasking, so your
multitasking, yeah, very true. Multitasking has a benefit also, that you can, for example, do your exercise like light walking.
but then your
Right.
attention is diverted. Then your attention is diverted. You're working on multitasking. Also has its negative impact because your focus is not on one side at all. Like if you're
No,
doing
that
an exercise,
depends. I agree. I agree. But that depends. Some people can concentrate. I do a lot of listening of. I hear audiobooks while walking, because sedentary life is not good, and especially this bent posture where your neck is sprained is not good for long hours. So a mix of everything is good. Of course,
yeah,
for
exactly,
very
because
hard.
you're not down for 8 to 10 hours to read something itself. It is also going to be there for a limited, because if you're reading, you'll read, sit down and read for an hour. People, why do you go to library? Because why library has still its importance, why books are still there, because when you're reading, you're concentrating, and that reading and that concentration has its own impact rather than simply listening.
Yes,
Otherwise,
for
if
hard,
that would,
very true. I agree. For very hard concentration, reading is best. But for
yes.
light reading, you can switch to the listening mode also, where hard concentration is not required. You can do your kitchen work, you can be in the washroom, you can have a walk, and it uses your time on two fronts. So each mode has some positive, some negative, but Nishiji, I agree with you entirely. For hard concentration, for deep reflection, printed material is best. That is why
And
textbooks are given to students.
exactly. I was just coming to that because in the primary ages of our life, we have all studied for 7 to 8 hours in school, and that is the result where you finally lead on to in your life. It is that study part itself which has really given you a stand in your life. So that could not be done with multitasking at all. So importance of books cannot be ruled out in any manner.
But I would like
And
to add one more thing, one which I think Khushi also was hinting at, that printed material has been used for propaganda also a lot. For example, a lot of Soviet dictatorship used magazines, etc., to brainwash people. In our own country, lots of communal riots were fomented by newspapers of hardened Muslims, hardened
I,
Hindus.
I do not disagree with the negative aspect of it at all, because
Yeah, I'm just adding. Yes,
everything has its positive and negatives to
yes,
the brim. You cannot
yes,
say anything is all good or anything is all bad. It all has its own shades.
yes.
Gray is
But
always there.
but in
Nothing
printing,
is black and
positives are much
white.
more. There are only some negatives, and that can be taken care of if teachers alert students to what is negative in that. Positives are much more. We can't live without printed material. That is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Now,
I
I
think
would like to just see if students were listening carefully. So, I'm just putting a question to you. What is this is very important thing to remember. What is the oldest surviving book of the world, and when was it printed? I just mentioned. Does anyone remember? What is the oldest surviving book of the world, and when was it printed? You can give us just century also. You need not remember exact date, exact year.
It comes from China.
Yes.
Diamond Sutra.
Very good. Very good, Khushi.
So
Congratulations.
my mic was not opening, so I was like speaking, but my mic was not opening.
So Chinese name must have been different, but its translation is Diamond Sutra.
And
it
in
was-
my book also, that there was a book name all around the world, and in that book it's written that it's based on Buddhism.
Okay. And it was printed around 1860s or so, in the latter half of 9th century under the Tang dynasty. Major dynasties of China were Han dynasty, Tang dynasty, Song dynasty, Manchu dynasty was the last dynasty. Like we had Mughals in India, there were Manchus in China. They were overthrown by the British and so on. So, Rita, you want to say something?
Wish. Not seeing something else. Wish.
You will be happy to know that printing played a very big role in spreading the religious word also.
Of course, what Nishi ma'am told, that Mahabharata, Ved Vyasa, Ganesh wrote, and all the
Yes.
Vedas
Yes.
and through
Yes.
this thing.
Yes.
Akash se Vani आई थी and Vedas were written and all.
बिल्कुल, absolutely. Even Ganesh
even
ji's
in-
task was used. उन गणेश जी का दांत जो था वो भी तो लिखने के लिए काम में लिया गया था. बिल्कुल.
Okay. This is I didn't know
चलो, I
this.
think the
Okay.
class is coming to an end. ये फिर से
Yeah.
meeting end का आ रहा है.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow with Rita. Will be teaching tomorrow. Rita, you have seen the topic now? I hope it
Yeah,
is
Devesh.
okay. It's slightly difficult. If you want to change the topic, your teacher, every teacher is free to give their own topic. Okay.
नहीं,
tomorrow
good ना thought.
You can mention.
thought-provoking
This is just a
topics are
suggestion
there.
from me. Okay.
Okay,
So we'll
good
meet.
night.
Our students are very bright.
Yeah, even
Thank you.
younger children are able to speak so well. It's really nice.
Yeah. Your efforts are now giving its fruits.
So
Day by day,
I
they're
hope
improving
Nishi
so
and
much.
Rita both are keeping well now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice to see your happy smiles.
Thank you so much. Thank you, same to. Reciprocate the
Good
same
night.
to you.
Good
Okay,
night.
good night. Okay,
Good
bye.
night.
Good night.